Explosions everywhere. Miami, what's going on? Miami. 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 Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Red alert, everybody. Red alert. Red alert, everybody. Abandon ship. Red alert. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Yeah, we got a problem, Miami. We got a problem. So you put your faith in Jimmy Butler, Miami. I wish I could tell you I didn't see this coming. I'm not gonna lie. And to be honest, I'm sure you guys saw it coming too. There's never been a situation with Jimmy Butler that ended well. And now it's your turn. Jimmy Butler has come out and has gone scorched earth against Miami. I guess not all the way yet. I mean, we've seen what scorched earth looks like when it comes to Jimmy. Just ask the Minnesota Timberwolves. So we haven't gotten to that point yet. But boy, let me tell you, he made it very public the other day during his press conference that he wants out of here. And if Jimmy wants something, and hell, if any player wants something at this point with the player empowerment era, they usually get it. But here's the kicker. With the new CBA, the owners and the team presidents and the general managers and the front offices in general are trying to take power back from the players. Even if they wanted to trade Jimmy, they could justify it by saying like, well, we're strong. We can't. We can't. It's really difficult. Jimmy tried to make it easy by saying, listen, I'll play anywhere outside of Miami. But realistically, who wants to bring in Jimmy Butler at this point? Jimmy's a 35-year-old aging superstar, and even though he's kind of been bought in the last handful of years, it hasn't gone great. More specifically last season. Last season they kind of flamed out, but there was a ton of injuries. You know, played Boston in the first round and they didn't go well. But still, Jimmy at 35 years old now just doesn't seem like the kind of guy who can carry a franchise anymore. But it's really hard to tell because Jimmy's the kind of guy who just doesn't show up in the regular season and then make the game super meaningful in the playoffs, and it's like, whoa, is that Jimmy Butler or is that Michael Jordan? What happened? So maybe he's got a year or two left in him with those kind of performances. Who knows? But considering he wants a massive contract, including being the guy, or maybe he doesn't want to be the guy anymore. Maybe that's the sticking point. It's really hard to tell. But here's what we do know. The Miami Heat for the second straight year has not been very good. For the second year in a row, they're hovering around 500, and every day seems like they're getting passed up by a younger, more up-and-coming hungry team. I'm not even talking about the cream of the crop with the Cavs and the Celtics and the Knicks, and listen, you even want to throw Philly and Milwaukee in there. You know they're going to be there even though they've kind of struggled this year. But I'm sure they're looking around and they're seeing what Atlanta's doing, they're seeing what Detroit's doing, and they're thinking to themselves, ooh, we're getting older and worse, and they're getting younger and better. And that's not even to mention that it's getting real difficult for us to compete with the guys all the way up top. But also, let's not kid ourselves. The reason this is all taking place is the same reason it takes place for every other player and every other organization in the league. I'm talking about money. Jimmy Butler wanted a big contract extension this offseason. He did not get it. Coincidentally, he's also making it a big stink this year that he wants to now play for any other franchise, as if Miami hasn't done him wonders, as if Miami has not done a great job of building around him and putting good players around them. I mean, they drafted Hero. They already had Bam in place. They've done a great job of finding role players and guys like Duncan Robinson. They traded for Rozier. They brought in Lowry. They've done a pretty good job of staying competitive, not even to mention that they have the best coach in the NBA in Eric Spoelstra. I also think one of the funniest parts of that press conference from Jimmy Butler was like, yeah, I really enjoy the off-the-court moments here in Miami, because of course you got to mention that. It's just the on-the-court stuff that he wants to kind of separate himself from. And I don't even really know what that means. Has Jimmy lost faith in the head coach? Has Jimmy lost faith in Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero as co-stars? I'll tell you this, one of those two young guys has really stepped their game up, and the other guy, not so much. I was trying to find a polite way of saying it. But let's be real here. Bam Adebayo has been disappointing this year. I think the idea for Bam overall was as he gets older and gets closer to his prime, he's going to continue to get better and then eventually take a lot more of the offensive load onto his shoulders where Jimmy can kind of wind down and still give you the Jimmy Butler things. But now we're not playing through Jimmy Butler. He's kind of ancillary star, co-star piece to a guy like Bam Adebayo who we're running most of our offense through now. And Bam just hasn't been that. As a matter of fact, it feels like Bam has kind of regressed. And I don't know what the numbers say, and to be honest, it doesn't matter to me to even look them up. Because the fact of the matter is, Bam Adebayo hasn't taken the leaps both offensively and defensively that both Miami, Jimmy Butler, and probably Bam himself expected him to take by this point. And it's not to say that Bam's been bad this year. He just hasn't taken the leaps that I think a lot of people maybe were expecting or at the very least hoping he would take. But we do have a positive. Tyler Hero has taken the leap that I think very few people thought he would actually eventually be able to take. He's become a legit go-to guy offensively. This is by far the best season of his career, and it's not even particularly close. Hero has almost single-handedly carried this Miami offense. But over the years, the biggest issue is that they just haven't been able to expand their talent and hold on to talent. They brought in Lowry towards the end of his career, and yeah, he gave him, a good year or two, but at a certain point, they cut costs and eventually got rid of him. Caleb Martin was a fantastic role player, and he's proven it out there in Philly. He's still doing his thing. They eventually lost him as well this offseason. You can go further back to guys like Gabe Vincent and Max Strus, who they lost in the same offseason. It's like, yeah, I know Gabe Vincent hasn't really done a whole lot for the Lakers, but at the same time, he was good and valuable for Miami, and they just kind of let him walk. Now, maybe that was a correct decision, maybe it wasn't. But I think holding on to talent is a far better move in the long run than what they've done recently. But all of this is a moot point to bring up because at the end of the day, Jimmy Butler did what he always does. He burned the bridge. The relationship between Jimmy and the Miami Heat just seems unsalvageable at this point, and eventually a divorce will happen, whether that's during the season, if he makes it a big enough deal that they just feel like they have to move on, or if it's in the offseason. It'll eventually happen. To be honest, one of the most fun parts of this that I'm looking forward to is a Jimmy Butler versus Pat Riley standoff, because boy oh boy can those egos not get any bigger. But I will say, and as a Knicks fan, it pains me to say, brighter days are ahead, Miami. Brighter days are ahead. Let's clear it all up. Clear skies are ahead. It's always warm weather out there in Miami for a reason. And let me tell you something. Bam will figure it out. Hero will continue to grow. Miami will continue to draft well, and they'll continue to be a thorn in the side of every Eastern Conference team. Even after they eventually move on from Jimmy Butler, this Miami Heat team will not tear it down, start from scratch, and be a tanking team. Pat Riley's a fantastic GM. Spoelstra's one of the best coaches in the league, and Miami's one of the best cities any NBA pro athlete player could dream of playing for and living in. So when I say I believe Miami's gonna be fine, I'm not just saying that just to say it. As far as what are the solutions for this Miami Heat Jimmy Butler situation, I have no idea. Obviously, you're gonna end up trading him, which is like, yeah, cool, that should happen. But in terms of like what the package is gonna be, what teams he's gonna go to, I have no idea, nor do I really care. Mostly because I think any real contenders are perfectly happy with their teams. Nor do I think they would want to bring in an old crotchety Jimmy Butler after he just burned the bridge with yet another team, and not just a regular old team, like a legit good organization that everybody looks at as like, yeah, they're a good, well-run organization, and yet you're finding an issue with them? Yeah, I don't think I'd want to bring you in either. So I don't know where Jimmy goes. It's not really the point of this video. In the last video, I talked about how the Joel Embiid era is over in Philadelphia. And I'm not going to title this video, the Jimmy Butler era is over now in Miami. I forgot y'all had Jaime Jaquez Jr. I'm looking at the highlights right now. That's crazy. Anyway, fact of the matter is, I think Miami's going to end up being better off moving on from Jimmy Butler at this point, considering he's been a guy for the last like 3 or 4 seasons who's just kind of been a sinkhole at his position, at his salary slot during the course of the regular season. Obviously, he's still great, and he was absolutely fantastic for Miami. Leading you guys to 2 finals appearances is nothing to sneeze at. But having that slot open on your team, while it probably won't be filled right away, is a much better option than keeping a guy who just doesn't want to be there. So whether it's now or later, this offseason, next season, or a full year from now, Miami will finally move on from Jimmy Butler. And to be honest, I honestly think it's probably about a year too late. So I think the Heat are better off moving on from Jimmy Butler, and honestly, I think they should have done it sooner. But what do you think? Thanks for watching. Miami, sit down. We need to talk. Miami, you got a Jimmy Butler problem, and I have the solution. Tyler Hero over me? Bam Adebayo over me? Eric Spoelstra over me? Pat Riley over me? All right, this is the one I'm gonna dive and roll. Let's see how it goes. Explosions everywhere. I'm gonna leave it at that because that one kind of hurt. Now it's on. Now we're recording. Now the mic is on. I just gotta hook it up where I want it. I think I want it right here. Right here. Or maybe I want it right here. I think I want it right there. Cause the Miami Heat. We got some things to talk about. Jimmy, buddy, what are we doing? Anyway, lighting. Back to lighting. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. What are we doing with the lights today for Miami? Right? Do we go red? Cool. Now they're all red, but not red enough. We are not red enough. Look at this. Look at me. Look at me. Ooh, I forgot. I got the gels. Film in there. Now we got the red film. Let's see it. Let's see it. This guy right here. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, another red. Oh, no. This is crazy. You got the red one here. Bathed in red. Red over here. Now we're cooking with oil, baby. Now we're cooking with oil. If we go red alert. Bathed in red. You can't see me cause I'm bathed in red.